And what I want to talk about today is this subject. And repeat it after me, please. We need to recover we need to recover our self-awareness. Say that. Let's say it again. We need to recover our self-awareness. Now, I want you to do something else with me at this point. For the sake of the message, I made it a corporate matter by using the word we. But one of the misnomers that we suffer is thinking that we can do things corporately. Whereas we are members of a body, which really makes us an organism. Each part of the organism must do its own thing. So in fact, and in reality, the subject should be, I must recover my self-awareness. So look at somebody and say, I must recover my self-awareness. One of the things that I like to do to be sure that we're all on the same page is give word definitions sometime before I start into my talk. And the word I want to define right now, so we're all on the same page, is the word recover. Brother Ray, when you say recover, what I mean is to get back or to regain that which we once had, that which you once had. Recover means to bring something back to its normal position. Automatically. So already you understand. If you're saying that we need to recover, then that should tell you that we are not in our normal position. Are you following what I'm saying? Yes. Recover here means to find our identity again. Recover here means to restore to a state of usefulness. It is really something, brothers and sisters, how, and I hope you guys follow me well here, the removal of a person's self-awareness requires strategy. Now grab what I'm saying. Here you have a person who is completely aware of who they are, what they are, where they've come from, and their direction in which they're going. Here you have a people with that awareness, and then something happens, and those same people, not those very people, but the descendants, the next few generations later, the descendants of those people who had a self-awareness, who knew where they were going, who knew where they were, knew where they had came from, are now lost. Absolutely confused and powerless. Walking around in a maze of emotion without fact. We must recover this strategy that was put in place, man. Now see, grab this if you can. An intelligence operation on the part of a power that sees how awesome you are So I don't just come up to you and say, listen, I want to take away your self-awareness. I don't just come up to you and say that. I don't just walk up to you and in the space of 30 days think I'm going to make you not know who you are and then make you engage in behavior to destroy yourself. I know that's not going to happen. But I can see within a few hours how awesome you are. I can see just on meeting you that you are a people that have literally developed a land that is flowing with milk and honey. It doesn't take long to see that. And it also does not take long for me to realize that in order for me to be superior to you, I must come up with a plan to reverse what I see. Am I making sense? But I also know that the complete reversal of your present state is not going to happen in my lifetime. Which means I must put a plan in place to whereas my great-grandchildren now own what I'm now looking at. Am I making sense? My children who are not even born yet will soon, in a couple of centuries, own all this wonderful accomplishment that I, as an invader, am beholding. So in order to make that happen, what I must do is I must come at you with a smile on my face. I must step in and begin to praise you for how wonderful you are. Oh my goodness, you are such a great people.
Go ahead. How you doing?
Only a people who have God with them could accomplish what my eyes see. Oh, you have no idea how much I honor you. All while I'm bowing and showing that I honor you, in the back of my head I'm saying, but I am going to take this, what I see. Am I making sense? But you get hung up on the fact that I'm praising you. In fact, I'm praising you, and I'm going to bring gifts to you that really are worthless, but you don't know it. In exchange for the gifts that I'm bringing to you that y'all ain't never seen before, you're going to return gifts to me, like gold and diamonds and precious stones. Because we are exchanging gifts. Because see, what I have is not really valuable at all. You just haven't seen it before. But I know that the gold that you're giving me in exchange for the mess that I'm giving you is valuable, but you ain't going to miss it because you got so much of it.
Come on, make it simple.
Do y'all see this picture here? Use your imagination with me and see this picture. So now I come up with a plan. I come up with a plan that the first thing is to make you trust me. Because see, once I get you to trust me, then that's going to give me power in your decision making. That's what our enemy did. In fact, if you don't mind, I'm describing myself as the invader. I hope y'all caught that. See, just in case you were nodding off and you just woke up when I said I'm trying to get you to trust me, because if you trust me, then I'll have power of you. Then you say, what are you trying to say? I'm describing myself as what the invader did to us.
Yes. All right.
Then once I get into your environment and you welcome me with open arms to the point to where you even give me a beautiful place to live. You give me a beautiful place to live because that's your nature. Your nature is to be hospitable. Your nature is to be kind. Your nature is to be outgoing and loving. So you give me, and not only that, but man, you also introduce me to your people as your special guest. Now it's deep because there's always somebody that says something about him ain't right. I don't know now. Somebody, Chief, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, Chief, and because you're the chief, I'm going to listen to what you say. But we need to leave him on the outside. Let him sleep out there. Don't let him sleep with us. But the chief, being the chief, says, no, let him sleep. That's how we are. We're hospitable people. So you come in and y'all don't have to, all you got to do is watch the movie Shaka Zulu. It is just a description of what I'm saying right now. How the British came in and became friends of the Zulu nation, all along planning to subvert. So I come in and then I start sowing seeds of discord among you. See, I start moving freely among you now. And so what I do is I see Sister Woods and I go to Sister Woods and I say, Sister, you're doing good. You're doing good. But I want you to know, everybody here ain't your friend. I just planted a seed in her head. See? And then I'll go and communicate with somebody else tomorrow. And I'll say, Sister Scoggin, there are people here who are jealous of you. Okay? And then I start showing those seeds of discord, and you know what we do? The deep thing about once you hear a thing, you have to have a seriously disciplined mind not to feed into it.
Yes.
Because that's how the brain works. All somebody got to do is just come drop some manure. And you fan it. Instead of getting some disinfectant and getting rid of it, we fan it. And then all we know is there's stink in the air. We don't even really know where it came from. All we know is there's something in the air. Something in the air. And the That's how I sit here in Missouri. Most of the invaders of Africa were accepted as friends because we thought our invaders' intentions were good. Dr. John Henrik Clarke said, never think for a moment that the invader comes to civilize. The psyche of our people was so affected by the widespread dismantling of our culture and our institutions, and then after confiscating our natural resources, manipulating the men and women. Oh, it's a deep thing. I don't want to talk about that in my message right now. Yes, I do. I've been hearing, and that's all I'm going to say about it, I've been hearing a whole lot of talk about pray for Bishop Eddie Long. Y'all, let me say something to you. Pray for the young people. whose lives are messed up. Somebody assaulted them. Somebody did. Or they wouldn't even be saying anything. Okay? These are young people whose lives are shot, messed up, and going to need a lot of therapy. So if you must send up some timber, send it up for them young people. Got me? And that's all I'm going to say on that right now. Y'all read my blogs on my Facebook page. Brothers and sisters, we have been suffering as a result of putting our trust in somebody. We trusted somebody who meant to harm us. See, it's one thing to put your trust in somebody and they hurt you and they didn't mean to hurt you. There's remedy for that.
Yes.
But there are people who strategically plan to hurt you. Look at somebody and say, their heart is not right. And y'all got to open your eyes to see that. Y'all hear what I'm saying? One of the things I've dealt with recently is people keep trying to reconcile me with people. Look at somebody next to you and say, Brother Ray has been given a gift. It's called discernment. That's why I'm in the position I'm in. It goes with the position. You understand what I'm saying? And brothers and sisters, please understand. I got to say this. I'm trying to stick to my message, but I just got to flow with this morning. Please stop trying to reconcile me with people whose heart ain't right. I don't know how to say it without calling names. Y'all hear what I'm saying?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Now all you have to do is listen to a person. If you have any kind of common sense, just listen to the way a person talks and you know where their heart is. There are people who I don't want in my space. And you better get to that point too. Don't want everybody in your space just because they're chocolate. Am I making sense? It ain't the vanilla looking people that's going to put a knife in your back. Every stab that's been in my back has been from somebody chocolate. Did y'all hear what I said? So look at your neighbor and say, please stop trying to connect Brother Ray with people who don't mean him no good. See, there's some of us who mean well. We just want unity with everything. Like our young brother right here, Brother Sharon. He want unity with everybody. If Sharon, he want to unify a dog and a cat if you let him. He want them to live in unity. Some things just aren't to be united by nature. Y'all hear what I'm saying? We're doing a great work, brothers and sisters. Okay? And I don't want this work contaminated by people who are on a... Whoo!
Come on, just say it. That's right. All right.
Got an agenda. Okay? We got people who come into the African village and see the village as a platform
That's what they see. Right.
for them to proliferate their activity.
Well, come on.
If you can't see that, then respect the fact that I do. Ashay? Okay, cool. You sure? All right. You sure? All right. Then if you really sure, say this with me. Say, Brother Ray, we ain't going to try to reconcile you anymore with folk that you don't want to be reconciled with. Ashay? Cool. I'm building something here, man. I don't want negative energy around me. That's the problem with us, man. and sisters, I know without a doubt in my mind that God loves us.
Yes.
Did you hear me? You know how I know God loves us? Because we are hard-headed.
Yes. Say that.
We've been hard-headed for a long time. And as long as we've been hard-headed, God keeps sending messengers to help us. That's how I know God loves us. See, some of us would have gave up on us a long time ago. Some of us would have said, these Negroes just ain't gonna listen. And I'm tired. I'm tired of trying to get them to listen. God doesn't do that with us. Anytime you have a person of African descent who says to you, I'm not an African. Don't call me an African. Are y'all grabbing this? Anytime you have a person of African descent who is ashamed of their ancestry and then turn around and say to you, I've been washed in the blood to be set free from that pagan stuff. God has to love us. That's just like a child, if I can use this analogy, that's just like a child slapping its mother, saying, I didn't come from you. You ain't have nothing to do with my existence. I'm ashamed of you. I don't want to be identified with you. I don't want to have nothing to do with you. I belong to the slave master. Anytime something like that happens, only a mother's love will still hold on to that child. How many of y'all remember the movie Sankofa? Y'all remember the young man in the movie Sankofa, Joe, who was the mulatto, who was Nunu's son? How many of you did not see the movie? Let me see if you did not see the movie. Oh, we need to show that here again. We need to show that here again so y'all can see that. But Nunu's son, Nunu was raped on the slave ship coming over from Africa by the ship hands. So she really didn't know who Joe's father was. All she knew is Joe's father was a white man. And you can look at Joe and see that. And Joe was adopted by the priest of the Roman Catholic Church and was raised on the plantation, but he was raised under the tutelage of this Roman Catholic priest who was telling him, Joel, and showed him Jesus on the cross and said, Joel, he died for your sins, Joel. And then he taught Joe that the rest of the slaves were pagans, including his own mother. And if you remember in the movie, when Joe's mother saw the crucifix hanging around his neck, at one point he was sick and she snatched that thing off of him. And when he snatched the crucifix off of him, he had a flashback of what the priest told him about his mother. And he reached up and grabbed his own mother by the throat and choked her to death and drowned her. Well, that is simply a depiction, brothers and sisters, of what black folk do when they want to hold on to Christianity. Okay, I just slapped somebody. Just slapped somebody. Well, let me slap you again. Let me just say it a little bit more palatable this time. When you choose of your own free will and accord to hold on to the device that has brought nothing but division, destruction, and death to your people, when you choose to hold on to that, that is the same thing as slapping the ancestors that told you, please don't do that. But God keeps loving us, because God keeps sending us messengers. Think of all the messengers who are gone now. Marcus Garvey. Think of him. A man who had the greatest vision for us in the 20th century. And what did we do? What did we do? We let the man die penniless. Had to leave the country because we wouldn't even stand with him. We supported him until pressure came. Look at somebody near you and say, if you can't stand the pressure, then stay out of the fight. This is a fight, people. This is not a picnic we're talking about, man. This is a fight. This is a fight for the future of our young people. That's what this is for. I don't know if you realize this or not, but in case you haven't noticed it, y'all, things ain't going too well for us. We live in an environment that is not geared for our best interest. I know a lot of y'all think so because a chocolate man is in the White House. And you think that things are better for us. No, it's not. In fact, y'all, that was the Novocaine. That was the injection of Novocaine that they injected you with to get you ready for what's really coming. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? Now we getting ready to kill a lot of black folk. So let's anesthetize them by giving them a person who appears to be an African. Put him in the White House. I am just as far from my notes today as I can be. Oh boy. We have neglected our African selves by falling in love with what our invader gave to us. Did y'all hear what I said? We love it. Can't nobody do me like Jesus. Can't nobody do me like the Lord. We love it. They gave us, which is antithetical to us. They gave us that which is antithetical to us. Y'all think I'm playing? I'm going to prove my point. I'm going to prove it. I don't have time to go through all of the references that I want to, but they told us in their own writing. They told us in their own writing that they came in and took away our culture and replaced it with theirs. They told us that. Brother Sharon or Minister Stewart, either one of y'all, take this please. Let's just kind of go through what I have highlighted there in yellow. Don't need the microphone. Now, again, what they're getting ready to read, Brother Ray didn't write it. It's their own publication. It was published by white folk to let us black folk know what they did. And what really gets to me is this. when they can tell you that they did a job on you, knowing that you're so messed up that you ain't gonna do nothing about it. Start there. And if she's reading, by the way, now I just gave her a Bible to read. But what she's about to read is not in your Bible. She has a Bible that they use in the Roman Catholic Church. Not the Protestant Bible, the one they use in the Roman Catholic Church. Okay? All right. And the part that she's getting ready to read is a part of a collection of books called the Apocrypha. Got me? Okay. What does it say, Minister Stewart? This is from 1 Maccabees. Write it down so you can go check it out. In fact, you don't have to go buy this. You can pull it up online. Those of you who are watching, you can actually Google right now 1 Maccabees 1:1 and follow along what she's reading. Okay? And by the way, Maccabees is spelled what? M-A-C-C-A-B-E-E-S. M-A-C-C-A-B-E-E-S. Okay? Read, Minister Stewart. What does it say?
This history begins.
Now notice this, y'all. They're telling us. They're telling us this. And one of the reasons why they took what she's about to read out of the biblical text is because what she's reading now historically took place. See, the Bible is not a historical book. Y'all grabbing this? But what she's about to read actually happened. And it doesn't fit with the collection of the biblical text because you're talking history with fiction. This is not fiction what she's reading. Read, sister, what does it say?
This history begins.
This history begins
With Alexander the Greek.
with Alexander the Greek. Notice, they didn't call him the Great.
They call him the Great. I call him.
Oh, you call him the Greek. Okay, all right, go ahead. All right, okay. Thank you. Go ahead.
Son of Philip of Macedonia.
Son of Philip of Macedonia.
Marched from Macedonia.
Now, wait a minute. Let's get this so everybody understand. How many of you guys have ever heard of Philip of Macedonia? Wow. Okay. Y'all, let me do this as quickly as I can. Philip of Macedonia was a Greek. He was Alexander's daddy. Got me? Alexander the Greek's daddy. Okay? Philip of Macedonia, as I said at the top of my message, he saw the greatness of Africa. Okay? And when he went into Africa, he said, I have got to find a way to get this. Y'all grabbing what I'm saying? Okay. But what happened is he was assassinated before he could carry out his plot. So his son, Alexander, decided to carry out his dad's last will and testament. You following this? Okay, go ahead.
He marched from Macedonia and attacked Darius, king of Persia and Media.
Yep.
Alexander enlarged the Greek Empire by defeating Darius and seizing his throne.
Yes.
He fought many battles, captured fortified cities,
Yes.
and put the kings of the region to death.
Yes.
As he advanced to the ends of the earth, he plundered many nations. And when he had conquered the world,
Actually, it should say the then known world, according to the European mind. Okay, we're talking about the Greco-Roman Empire here, the Mediterranean basin. You follow what I'm saying? Okay, the area around the Mediterranean Sea, because Alexander never went to Japan. Alexander never went to North America or South America. You follow what I'm saying? Or Mexico. He didn't go over the oceans like that. Okay, so when it says the world, it means the seat of power at that time. Continue.
and when he had conquered the world, he became proud and arrogant.
Yes.
By building up a strong army, he dominated whole nations and their rulers.
Yes.
And forced everyone to pay him taxes.
Okay.
When Alexander had been emperor for 12 years, he fell ill and realized that he was about to die.
Okay.
He called together his generals, noblemen, who had been brought up with him since his early childhood, and he divided his empire, giving a part to each of them. After his death, the generals took control, and each had himself crowned king of his own territory.
Yes.
The descendants of these kings ruled for many generations and brought a great deal of misery on the world.
Whoa. The descendants of these kings that Alexander set up ruled for many generations, and what did they do? They brought a great deal of misery. I didn't say that. They're telling on themselves. Brought a great deal of misery on the world. Okay, what does it say in the part highlighted in yellow?
The wicked ruler Antiochus Epiphanes.
Antiochus.
Antiochus Epiphanes.
Everybody say Antiochus Epiphanes. Okay, good. Go ahead.
Son of King.
Now this again, this is history. See, Abraham never existed.
All right.
Alexander did. Do y'all get this?
Yes.
Okay, go right ahead.
He was the son of King Antiochus III of Syria.
Yes?
Was a descendant of one of Alexander's generals.
Yes?
Antiochus Epiphanes had been a hostage in Rome before he became king of Syria in the year 137 BC, 137A and 175 BC.
Okay.
At that time, there appeared in the land of Israel.
Now here's what I want you to keep in mind. Hear this very well. At that time, it's reading here. Now you got to keep in mind, Jews wrote this. Got that? Everybody say, he who controls the printed page,
He who controls the printed page,
controls the thinking of the age.
controls the thinking of the age.
Okay? Now, Jews wrote this because what she's about to read about did not exist geographically as a place. But what she's going to read it anyway. What would it say?
At that time, there appeared in the land of Israel.
In the land of what?
Israel.
In the land of Israel. Everybody say Is. Ra. El. Is is for Isis. Ra is for God the Son. And El is the preface for God. Got me? Etymologically speaking, there was no land called Israel. Y'all got that? Get my message, the illegitimacy of a people called the Jews. It breaks it down some more. So when it says here, there were in the land of Israel, it's talking Africa. Go ahead.
There appeared a group of traitorous Jews.
A group of what?
Traitorous Jews.
Traitorous Jews. What did that mean? That means there were people among us who sold out. Everybody say sellouts. Sellouts. See, that's what causes the enemy to have so much power. Because rest assured, somebody among us is going to be a sellout. By feeding into the junk that the enemy wants to bring. Continue.
They had no regard for the law.
They had no regard for the law.
And who had a bad influence on many of our people.
Uh-oh. These sellout Africans had no regard for Ma'at. And not only did they have no regard for Ma'at, they had a bad influence on other Africans. They must have had YouTube back then. Facebook. Same thing going on now, it's just under technology. Go ahead.
They said, let's come to terms with the Gentiles.
Now this is what the sellout Africans said. Let's come to terms with our invaders. Why?
For our refusal to associate with them.
Because here we are trying to take a stand as revolutionaries, and it's causing us some problems.
It's brought us nothing but trouble.
Brought us nothing but trouble. Go ahead.
This proposal appealed to many people.
Wow.
And some of them became so enthusiastic about it that they went to the king and received from him permission to follow Gentile customs.
Wow.
Are y'all hearing this?
That's what it say right there.
Africans actually went and got permission to follow European ways. Y'all getting this? Now, when did this happen? Alexander invaded Egypt in 332 BCE.
That's right. Come on. All right. That's a long time.
Go ahead.
They built in Jerusalem a stadium like those in the Greek cities. They had surgery performed to hide their circumcision.
Ain't this deep? Brothers, can you imagine after becoming a grown man, having surgery done to hide your circumcision?
No.
Now, you've already been circumcised because that was the African cultural way of circumcising a male child before the 7th day after birth. But now you're taking on the Greek ways, and to fit in so you can take on their ways, you're going to have surgery done to put skin back. That's wanting to be like them too bad. That's wanting to be like them a little bit too much. Go ahead.
They abandoned the holy covenants.
They abandoned the holy covenant of their ways. Go ahead.
Started associating with Gentiles.
Started associating with Europeans. That's who Gentiles are, by the way. In fact, the word associated there means intermarrying with. Go ahead.
And did all sorts of other evil things.
And did all sorts of other evil things. Now, brothers and sisters, I encourage you to go ahead and pull up the Maccabees. Pull up the Maccabees online. Read the rest of it. Okay? Because I would just take too much time of my message time here continuing to read that. But here you have the beginning of our predicament. When black Africans can ask if it's all right for me to act like a European and take on their ways. And now today in 2010, black Africans want to say we who are trying to return or recover our self-awareness are preaching false doctrine. Because we're trying to return ourselves to who and what we were. Brothers and sisters, you got to understand, we have neglected our African selves by not only taking on European ways, but by falling in love with European ways. If that happened back in the 3rd or 4th century BCE, then think of all of the generations that have been born since then.
Yes, there we go.
Who were born into the Greek way of life, as she read. Anytime, I gotta go there, gotta go on and say it. Anytime a black man
Come on.
can find pleasure
Come on. Make it plain.
in orally sodomizing a young black male,
Come on.
he has taken on and fell in love with the Greek way of life. I remember I was reading one of the charges, and by the way, because, you know, y'all, I am there in Atlanta too, and I've talked to several people who are part of this mess. And when I heard oral sodomy, it went over my head. I've heard of oral sex, and I've heard of sodomy. But the two together charged with oral sodomy. Are y'all probably went over some of y'all's head too. That's why I'm trying to make sure you get it. Oral sodomy. Sodomy is back at the back door. What has happened to us? When you got people among us who can do some stuff like that. Y'all mighty quiet. I hope I ain't preaching to the choir. If I'm preaching to the choir, I'm in the wrong place. That's some deep stuff, man. Let me tell y'all something. If somebody accused me,
Come on, what you gonna say?
of some mess like that, I ain't lying, y'all. If I was intellectually challenged, it's not even funny. I ain't lying. If I was intellectually challenged with a speech impediment, I ain't do it. You understand what I'm saying? I'd be I ain't do it. I ain't do it. Honest to God, that's all I would have to say. I wouldn't say nothing else but that. I ain't do it. I ain't do it. And there wouldn't be nothing else to say. I would not say I have never in my life presented myself as a perfect man. When that statement was made, all of the brothers, well, not at that place, but all of the warriors in the community should have converged on that spot. Because as Carlton Pearson said, I'm trying to stay away from that, but I'm dealing with too many people who are wounded. As Carlton Pearson said, Eddie Long is just the tip of the iceberg. I just got to go here.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Y'all keep saying, I'm going to go ahead and, I never said this before. I never said it, but I'm going to say it. People wonder, why ain't there a lot of folk in the African village? Why? Where are the people? We once had a crowd. I'm going to tell you why we once had a crowd. Because I was the new kid on the block. That's why we had a crowd. People do that. I was new. People wanted to come see the new preacher who's preaching this powerful message. Okay? That goes with anything new. Look at Dream Center and where the car is now. Gone. Just walk over the street. Think I'm playing. When Dream Center first started up the street, it took the community by storm. The newness done wore off. They used to have carts driving people from way up the street. Now the streets are empty because the newness is worn off. When I first came here, I was being taken around, introduced to other pastors by Brother McFarland.
Come on. All right.
Yeah. And I noticed that all the pastors he was introducing me to were gay. I'm going to say it. Let me deal with this mess. All the preachers he was introducing me to in the city were gay. Now I didn't say every preacher in this city is gay. I said the ones he was introducing me to was gay. And I said, I better let this brother know that I don't do that. Just in case he might be, and then we're going to have to lay hands on him. I was invited to come to a ministers' meeting. I'm thinking we getting ready to improve the community. What can we discuss? He's going to show at meeting at his, and he's going to show a video. And I had video production equipment, so he said, Brother Hagins, can you make copies of this video I'm going to show? Okay? And I said, sure, that's not a problem. Got to the meeting, and here about 12 of y'all's favorite pastors in this city. Y'all hearing me? Yeah, I'm going to say it. I haven't said it, but this thing then sparked something in me here. Come on. And I pull up and he's sitting around talking, and he said, well, brethren, let's get started. And he goes, he puts a videotape in, Brother Brady. And I'm thinking it's going to be a tape on, we're going to listen to some preacher or some whatever, And it comes across the screen. Big, black, and long. Triple X-rated video. I said to myself, what? What the? My pager went off about 2 or 3 minutes later, and I used that as an excuse to have to leave. And I called the brother later and said, brother, we don't have nothing else to fellowship about. Well, that was in August of 1998. Did y'all hear what I said? Okay. Well, a couple of months later, these same preachers decided to march up in here to try to have y'all get rid of me. Those of you who here remember that. It wasn't about what I was teaching. It was about that I had the power to expose them. And they had to get rid of that threat. So to vilify me, every preacher started preaching in their pulpits how evil and wrong and false and everything about New Ephesus. Y'all stay away from New Ephesus. Y'all stay away from New Ephesus. Y'all hear what I'm saying? And to this day, we still suffer that stigma. But that's okay with me. I'd rather suffer the stigma, okay, of where pastors try to vilify us, because I will not participate in that mess. I'd rather have that. I'm just not going to do it. What are we going to do as a people when our religious leaders become like the sellout that Minister Stewart just read about and say, let us come to terms and take on the Greek way of life? Man, shoot. Let me close. I got about 8 minutes left, if that much. We've gotten into a messed up condition here. We got into the position that we're in by ingesting, as you heard me say, the European concepts of worship. Worship to a God that is nothing like the God of our ancestors. Come on, people, think for a moment. I mean, just think with me for a moment. Ain't it something a little crazy about black people praying to a blue-eyed, blonde-haired figure? Doesn't that strike you a little strange? Every other culture, whoever they pray to, it looks like them. What's wrong with us? That we find joy and whatever, and just thinking about what this white man on the cross did for us. I'm trying to be easy. I'm trying to go easy, because I know I'm messing with somebody. But in order for us to recover our self-awareness, we have to first understand that the awareness that we think is ours is not. We must appropriate African wisdom.
Yes.
And stop believing this doctrine of election. We must stop believing this doctrine of justification by faith. We must stop believing and preaching this doctrine that everybody, regardless of who you are, of what you've done, is made right with God through the shed blood of Jesus Christ. You got to stop thinking like that. You see, I don't know how many of y'all heard T.D. Jakes' announcement in response to the Eddie Long thing. Go to my Facebook page. It's there. Click on it. I quote him. T.D. Jakes said, I'm telling y'all right now, ain't going to be no headlines on me. Who saw it? Did anybody see it? He said it. He said, I'm telling y'all right now, ain't going to be no headlines on me. I need the blood. Am I lying? Who saw it? That's what he said, brother. You saw it? I'm telling y'all now, ain't going to be no headlines on me. I need the blood to cover me every day.
Every day. That's what he said.
And then he stood there and that other nature in him took over. And he said, I need the blood every day. Who saw it? Am I making it up? If you didn't see it, go to my Facebook page. Again, Carlton Pearson told everybody. See, Carlton came out. Carlton, they put him out the church, but at least he's happy because he ain't got to hide no more. Carlton said, Eddie Long is just the tip of the iceberg. Whew, man. As a result of taking on this right way of life, we mistreat each other. We try to destroy each other's character. We don't respect each other like we should. Too much infidelity in our ranks and too much hypocrisy. Too much worldliness, too much isfet. So write these three things down in my close. I'm trying to get this done before I got 5 minutes to get it done. Let me give you the three things in case I don't get all. Write these down. The first thing we must do to recover our self-awareness is we must admit that we have been programmed. We must admit that. Many of our people are not willing to undergo this requirement because they don't want to admit it. It sounds like defeat. Well, brothers and sisters, whether we want to admit it or not, we were defeated. And the only way you can begin to hope for a victory is admitting the fact that you were defeated. Just because you were defeated don't mean you got to stay down. It's amazing, man. I had so many people, people fussing at me because Eddie Long did something wrong. I'm trying to say we need to be praying for these young men. How dare you? How dare you say something like that about Bishop? He's your bishop. He ain't my bishop. Y'all hear what I'm saying? We defend the Greek way of life. Africans come along and we attack them for trying to get us back to who we are. Second thing is we must understand history. We don't realize the nature of the process of our own destruction because we haven't studied history in sufficient depth. If we are cut off from our true history, we can never fully understand the effect that their history has had on us. And thirdly, is we must develop a concept of African unity. We need to return to who we are. We need to learn to love ourselves. We need to learn to appreciate ourselves. We need to understand and have appreciation for our family unit. We need to understand the concept of African unity. And whenever we hear anyone letting words come from their mouth that does not foster African unity, we need to shut them up. It ain't a matter of taking sides. Anybody who speaks out against another African, something's wrong. I'll say it again. Anybody who speaks out against another African, something is wrong. We'll never have get-togetherness as long as that's happening among us. The balance of the land lies in Ma'at. If we don't do Ma'at, we ain't going to ever get it right. Truth, justice, righteousness, harmony, balance, reciprocity. The only hope we have, brothers and sisters, is doing Ma'at so that we can live. You hear what I'm saying? Ashe.